Alright guys, what's going on? This is war number 6. We're at the midway point of the season once this war is completed. We're up against GT40. They're pretty good. I think they finished last season in the top 5 to 6. And this season, I think at the time that this war took place, they were top 5 also. So we know that they're going to be pretty tough. And I'm going to be taking in Thing, Claire, and Magneto. I'll talk to you about why I'm bringing Claire towards the end of the war, but I've got Path 2 in Section 1. We've got a Yellowjacket and a Corvus on the Strike Counter Fury path, which is a really, really scary path. You either want to Quake it, so you don't have to worry about the Strike Counter, which will build their Furies up in their passive, so you can't nullify them with a Mystic Champ. And Thing is going to be a really good option for almost any fight on this path, because once they build up 5, 6 Furies, they're going to start triggering protection every time they hit you, even through the block. So the scary part about facing a Corvus is there is going to be a very small window when, if you have not gotten off a successful parry in a little while, you guys can see my rock stacks are at 20, and then there's a timer on them, and when that timer expires, if I haven't gotten off another parry, then those will drop down to 15 rock stacks, which leaves you 5% of your health that's not protected by Thing's protection ability. And I have seen a Thing get one shot by a, what was it, I think a 670,000 medium. With 95% protection from Thing's Sig ability, 15 rock stacks, plus his Sig ability at Sig 200, which I think was roughly about a 17 million medium. And that was against a Corvus. So I talked to Dreamin', he's the 4 Loki resident Thing expert. And, these moments when I'm at 15 rock stacks are just really scary, because if I hit a parry, I'm going to automatically get those extra 5 rock stacks to build me up to 20 before I would take the parry damage. So the protections are going to happen first, and that's the question that I had asked Dreamin'. He confirmed, and obviously that's how it is in this fight. But if I were to miss a parry, or worse, if I were to, accidentally get hit by a medium with only 15 rock stacks, I could easily get one shot here because of the Furies. Corvus has almost 50 passive Furies at this point. I think each Fury adds 20% attack. I'm not going to do the math on that, but it's an obscene amount of attack right here. So there, I kind of missed the parry, I think, and it dropped me down to 12 rock stacks. That was scary. I lost quite a bit of my health, but protection did save my life there. It automatically triggered for me. And then the rest of this fight is just about making sure that I'm nailing my parries. And fortunately, the fight is over. But I think I was as scared to take that fight with Thing as I've been to take any other fight this season. I've had a lot of tough fights. I've had some apocalypses. I've had a couple mole men that I was scared of. I've had a couple Nick Furies on aspect of evolution and kinetic transference, which can always go sideways. But that fight, I was very, very scared of that fight. Alright, so here, I chose to use Magneto here. I could have used Thing. Frankly, I didn't want to heal him up, and I also just felt like Magneto was maybe a safer option. It's possible that's not true. I mean, Thing is so safe on this path. But the name of the game against new Yellowjacket is, first of all, he's going to passively reduce all of your healing. So you're not going to get like a ton of willpower healing, which is why even with 90%, where actually I was running in this war, I always run 1 point coagulate. So I had 100% bleed resistance with my Magneto, but I wasn't healing from willpower because of Yellowjacket's passive heal reduction. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The name of the game here is, you guys see those little strike counters underneath my health bar. I just want to recycle my SP1s. I'm not going to be playing the standard Magneto style building up to an SP3. I just want to minimize the passive Furies that he's able to build up, and I can do that by throwing my SP1 repeatedly. So that's what I'm doing. The reason that he's placed here is you can't quake him on this node because of brute force. I'm sure that you could, but it's just not really smart. And if I were to get hit by a special attack, I'm going to get Power Sting. And that can make Strike Counter Fury pretty difficult to deal with when you really need to be throwing your special attacks. So anyway, all right. This is a pretty brief war for me. I've only got 2 more fights. I initially had planned to take a Nova mini-boss on Node 49, Hazard Shift, and Stun Immune with Claire. That is why I brought her. However, I realized, we're not fighting against Stubborn. We can just have our best Quaker quake that fight, and so I reassigned that fight to Bryn, who is world-class Quaker, and he took care of that Nova without an issue. He said that it was pretty stressful because with Stun Immune, Nova was just insanely aggressive, but yeah, Quake is a pretty good option if you have a really, really good and reliable Quake player that can, do Dex style on Stun Immune for 3 straight minutes, which is what he did without taking any damage. Pretty cool. Anyway, here we have another Strike Counter node. However, this one is going to be Strike Counter Suppression or Strike Counter Power Rate. Those little passive red circles underneath my health bar are suppressions. They are passive, so I can't shrug them. And that's just going to reduce the amount of combat power rate that I gain by either combat power. Just a refresher, guys, is the power that you gain from being struck or striking the opponent. So it doesn't apply to like Mystic Dispersion or Ghost's Phase or her Sig ability, where she's gaining power every time she faces a hit. Passive power gain like Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, Symbiote Supreme. It doesn't apply to any of that stuff, but it is combat power. And eventually, if you have a 0 on your strike on any one of your strike counters, then that every time you hit the defender, that those suppressions are building up, and they're going to be increasing in potency. And eventually, they start to negatively reduce your combat power, so that every time you hit the defender, you're actually losing power, as you guys just noticed there. If you're watching my power meter, at this point I have 0 power, so it doesn't matter. But with Magneto here, you can just heavy because you're getting that burst damage if he's awakened, and you don't really have to have special attacks against a metal defender. So that goes pretty well. I was trying to manage the strike counter throughout that fight, but I don't know. I'm sure that it kind of sped it up, but certainly did not need to. If you're in a fight against a metal defender with Magneto, you can really just go heavies. So this is my last fight of the war, and again, this is strike counter. This also has buffet, but of course, we don't have to worry about that because Sentinel is metal, so he won't be healing against Magneto. And this is actually kind of a sloppy fight, but I don't, there was 0 risk in this fight. I think really the only risk against a Sentinel on Node 46, or really anywhere with Magneto, is going to be, once he gets to 100 analysis charges, and if you were to push him to an SP2 and try to block it or just mistime your dex on it, and he'll have a 30% chance to incinerate you, accounting for the ability accuracy reduction for Magneto against robots or against metal defenders. And if it does incinerate you, then that's going to be some pretty big damage. But yeah, again, I'm kind of trying to manage the strike counter here, so I'm going to throw off another SP1. But at some point, so that was just a really careless intercept attempt. It wasn't even really in rhythm or anything. It was just kind of a flailing attempt there. But that was just me being impatient. So yeah, at this point, I think that I'm going to be gaining negative power. I'm going to be losing power every time I hit them. All right, looks like I'm even now. Even meaning I'm not gaining or losing power yet. They were able to get to the heavy spam in the corner. And yeah, again, I do want to bait out this SP1 because I don't want to deal with the SP2 just in case it were to incinerate me, that could, you know, I don't know if it would kill me, but it would make the fight a lot more stressful. So at this point, I am in the negative power zone, where I'm losing power every time I hit him, but I'm just going to go straight to heavies to get that extra burst damage. And then this fight and this war will be over for me. So certainly not a very exciting war. No crazy fights. I guess the Corvus fight was, you know, a pretty dangerous fight. And that was certainly the only fight that I was nervous about in this war, but yeah, nothing too bad here. So a couple more heavies, and this war is over. And this will make the first half of the season I'm able to get through without dying, which is something I'm excited about. I think that it has certainly helped that I've given up on boss duty. If you guys watched my channel last season, I was fighting quite a bit of bosses, and it's just not for me. I don't think I'm not good enough for that. But let's take a look at the cards. We've got Karate Mike with Archangel. That's his second consecutive silver card. And then we have Bryn with the gold, with Doom, and then OPM and BG1 with the platinum card. Magic he used to solo a Terox boss. That is it for the video, guys. Leave a like and a comment. I'll see you in the next one. And subscribe.